Zero. Just for a second, you guys want to say hi to the camera, people watching it?
Hi.
All right. Let's begin. All right, now be quiet. All right, so let's first start talking about Adam Smith. Adam Smith is seen as the father of the free market. Adam Smith is seen as the father of the free market. So, Adam Smith is known, first of all, we mentioned his book already. What's it called?
Wealth of Nations.
Wealth of Nations. He's known for his book called The Wealth of Nations, which was made in 1776. 1776. The same year as the Declaration of Independence and America became a country. Kind of a coincidence, kind of not. 1776. So, what did Adam Smith talk about? We mentioned it briefly earlier. Number one would be specialization. He talked about specialization. So now we're getting big into this. He talks about specialization and also division of labor. He talks about specialization and division of labor. He was a huge promoter of the Industrial Revolution, of the factory system, which gets us most of our goods we have today. Specialization is pretty much everyone doing their job the best they can, doing one job. Division of labor is dividing the job up into different parts. So a factory, if you think about it, you might have someone who are making chairs. Someone might just put like screws into one part of the chair. Someone puts another part of the chair together, and you can make it even faster. In one of his writings, which is pretty famous, he talks about a pin factory. In fact, we'll read that one in a little bit. It'll be a next homework assignment in the future, this chapter. He talks about a pin factory, and he says if you would take one person and would try to make a pin, you could maybe make one pin a day. By the time you get the iron cut, you'd make the pin. Maybe you'd have one. But if you put 10 people on a factory line, you could make 48,000 pins in a day. Well, you can, because you're constantly producing them. Everyone's doing a job. And he would say, that means the average person's now making 4,800 pins instead of one. So he said, if everyone specializes in one part of the job, we will get more goods, and that will be spread to more people. Does that make sense? And if you look at America, is there a lot of goods here? A lot of factories, a lot of the goods come here. Now, he would say that specialization goes along with self-interest. Specialization goes along with self-interest. Adam Smith would say that you should do what is best for you. And he would say that's good. It's good that you have self-interest. And he'd say you should follow your self-interest. Adam Smith would even say society is better because of self-interest. He would say if you want to be a writer, society should be blessed with your books. Does that make sense? If you want to be a baker, we should all get your bread. If you want to be a butcher, that's great. We're now all going to have the meat you produce. Does that make sense? So you should follow your own. If you want to design buildings and you think that's cool, like my son does, Adam Smith would say that's awesome. You should do everything you can to be an architect. And you should do it because you'll love it and you'll probably be good at it. Does that make sense? He would say that's self-interest and you should follow that. So Adam Smith says if everyone follows their self-interest, what will happen is society will be better off. And then he would tie these two go together, and you need to know these concepts, not just for my class. You need to know this well beyond here. This will be referred to in textbooks in college over and over again. Invisible hand. He would say, when everyone follows their own self-interest, the invisible hand will take care of all the needs. Invisible hand, what the hell is that? The invisible hand is just a combination of everybody participating, following their self-interest. Think of it like fingers on the invisible hand. We have the butcher, who butchers the meat. You have a baker, who gives you your bread. You have the farmer, who milks the cows. There you got milk and other stuff to drink, cheese. And if all these people follow their own thing, we now have what when we go shopping?
Products.
The products we need. He would say, we don't need anyone on top saying, like, you have to do this, you have to do this. If everybody just follows it, all the needs will be taken care of. And that would be the invisible hand that will take care of all the needs. He says, self-interest will lead to the invisible hand. Wait a minute. What about the garbage man? What about the guy who's got to clean the sewers? Are you telling me someone out there is going, the sewers, I just want to clean the sewers. I just want to take the garbage out.
John.
Uh-oh. So, wait a minute. We got a problem here, don't we? Is this a problem with the invisible hand?
Yeah.
Maybe some jobs people won't want to do. Is this a problem?
No.
Why not, Jason? I mean, why not unnamed student who I'm recording?
I mean, I feel like would it mostly be like. Never mind.
You sure?
Yeah. No, because I'm thinking about like. So it's not that they wanted to specialize in it, but because of the economic, they have to do it. You're pointing at me. I'm scared.
No, I want you to keep going. Don't worry. If I get the stick, be scared. Keep going.
Because of the economic, because of economic system, it forces you not to go into to specialize in something you don't want to do, but you still do it. Yeah, I kind of forgot what.
All right, I'll give you a couple examples. Number one, why would I want to be a garbage man? Maybe I noticed that nobody's picking up the garbage. There's no government picking up the garbage in the system. And I noticed that people want to put their garbage somewhere and they start throwing it on the street. It starts to become a mess. They don't know what to do with it. So I go and I buy a truck. And I might not love garbage, but I like money and I like to run my own business. So I might buy a truck and I might start picking up this trash and taking it away somewhere and buying some land I can dump it on because I know I now have my own business. I'm an independent worker. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
That might be my self-interest. And maybe I have to pay someone and someone doesn't love being a garbage man, but they're like, you know what? He'll pay me well for it because no one else wants to do it. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So it is in their self-interest. Or maybe someone out there is quite honestly being like, you know what? Garbage man will pay pretty decent and actually doesn't pay that bad. And I don't have to go home and have all this stress and everything. I just got to go do my job, go home, and I can go be a good dad. And that's in my self-interest. Maybe that's just what I want to do. Does that make sense? No. Well, they actually, they don't make that bad of money just for throwing it out there. Okay? Does this make sense?
How do they have to be a garbage man?
What's that?
How do they have to be?
Probably 18, I imagine. All right, so now let's bring this into market economies. Adam Smith is the godfather of what?
Free market.
The free market. Free market is associated with market economies. So free market is associated with market economies. There's not a whole lot of government supervision of this. It's kind of like, go follow your self-interest. The visible hand will take care of everything. So the market economies are going to be on one end of our spectrum. So in the market economy, it is dependent upon individual actors following their self-interest, as Adam Smith said. Does that make sense? It is dependent upon individual actors acting in their own self-interest. The price will determine a lot of things. What are we going to produce? It's kind of like how much do you get paid? What is the price? Why do you buy things usually? It depends upon the price and if you want it or not. Let's go to our island again because for some reason islands tend to work. So I gave you the garbage man example. I'm going to give you another example. Now we're back at our island again. We're on the island of the free market. So on the island of the free market where you can buy things, you can sell things, you follow your self-interest, and the invisible hand runs everything. On our island, we'll say there's 100 people there again. And now we'll get a market economy on this island. So self-interest again. You can fish or you can farm. And maybe a lot of people are thinking again, well, you know what? Fishing, I kind of throw a pole in the water, I throw a net out there, it's not as much work, I get food quickly, I can cook it, eat it, I want to fish. So what happens is 100 people on this island all decide to start fishing and nobody is getting veggies. So we have no veggies and a ton of fish. What is slowly going to happen on our island? Think of the garbage man.
Oh, you're
But
gonna
you're
figure it out.
gonna decide it needs, something needs to be done.
What's eventually going to happen to these people have all this fish and no veggies?
They're gonna get bored. They can't make beef stew.
And they're going to want some veggies. So some guy is going to go, you know what? I'm going to grow veggies. I'm going to grow that garden. I'm going to grow veggies. And I am going to now be eating more fish than anybody.
Oh, I get it.
Why?
They're gonna
People are
trade.
gonna want some.
They're going to trade because now the price of their veggies are going to be like, you know, after eating fish for like 3 weeks, you're going to be like, man, I would kill for some potatoes and carrots and something else. And he's going to be like, oh, potatoes, carrots, I got them here. But for that one potato, I want 15 fish. Oh, you're not going to buy it? That's okay. I'll go to the other 98 people and see what they want.
He holds the bill.
Does this make sense? Price, this will be determined by the price, and what will happen is, pretty soon these numbers will change and even out. The invisible hand will come in and eventually it'll become normal. Does that make sense? We'll probably see like 30 people gardening after a while, and probably someone else in their own self-interest will plant an apple tree or something. Does that make sense? Someone else will be like, hey, wait a minute, rice. Maybe I can grow rice here. Does that make sense? And we'll suddenly have a wide variety, and it's not because anybody told them to. It'll be because they'll see that they can get money for it, and it's in their own self-interest. Any confusion about this?
No.
This is the market economy. Does America have a market economy?
Yes.
In a lot of ways, yes. In a lot of ways, yes. Not completely. But we lean free market. America leans free market. All right, examples of market economies. The United States has mostly a market economy. Canada, even less than us. Britain, Singapore, Australia. So, all right, so now let's look at our scorecard here. Here's the scorecard we have for the market economy. You'll be wanting to think about the factors you're using right now. Look at your outline. Look at the factors that you want to pick. And look how they affect the market economy. You will be writing a paragraph about that. So now we see on here our factors. Well, freedom is pretty high in this one, isn't it? You have the freedom to decide what you want to do. So you have the freedom to decide what you want to do. However, your efficiency, well, actually, market economies can be pretty efficient. The only area where they might not be efficient is they can be a little wasteful sometimes. No, not a little. They can be wasteful sometimes. They can be. I should take the sometimes out. We can see waste in a market economy. So a lot of freedom. However, at the same time, though, is McDonald's pretty efficient at producing food?
No. Yes.
They get a lot of food produced out there. It might not all be good for you, but they'll produce a crap load of it.
Crap little crap.
For a cheap price. All right?
It's not crap.
For your food, your value for your money, what you're paying for your calories is pretty cheap, right? Just not the best calories. All right, equity. Uh-oh. We got a problem.
Well,
Is this going to be an equal society?
look what
It will inherently be unequal because someone's going to be successful and someone else
It's gonna be poor.
there's going to be a division. This society, just by definition, will almost always have a separation between the rich and the poor. Because for someone to succeed, it almost inherently means that someone else won't. All right? Continuing. Security. Is this a very secure system? In most ways, no. Because you could lose your job in a system like this when we get bigger on the market economy. You could lose your job. And there's not a lot of protections in it. Stability. They're fairly stable, though. United States' economy has been around for quite a while. Britain's economy has been around longer, and they've been a market economy since, God, I don't even know when you'd say, maybe 1700? 1800? And growth. This economy tends to produce more things, and the economy, by production, I mean your GDP. Does GDP grow in this economy?
Yeah.
Typically, yeah. You get a large GDP growth. So you get growth, you're efficient, you have freedom at the cost of equity and security. Does that make sense? There are no protections. So let's look at some of these impacts of the market economy before we, yeah.
So stability. What, could you define again the difference between stability and security?
Stability and security. Inflation, Will your dollar still keep its value?
Oh, that's.
And if we look at the evidence